This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, highlighting all of Section 3, interviewing the greatest local coaches and athletes. Brought to you by SummitCars.com, broadcasting in the ESPN studios. Here's your host, Mike Bristol, and Eagle Newspapers' Phil Blackwell.
Well, Phil, we should start talking about some tournament play.
Slightly,
yeah.
This is quite a day today. We have all the sectional basketball championship games taking place up at OCC. 5 of the girls' games in Allen Hall, 5 of them in SRC Arena. We have 2 hockey teams playing, sectional champions playing regional championship games in other parts of this in the western New York area. We also have state championships taking place in boys swimming down in Long Island and in indoor track. They're going as we speak down on Staten Island at the Ocean Breeze Complex. And that's all today, folks. One day. This is one kind of day, and we have plenty to get around to talk about those things and many, many more.
So, a great show for you. We got our SummitCars.com spotlight interview with members of the Baldwinsville Boys Bowling Team. And next weekend, the State Bowling Championships take place right here in town at Strike and Spare Lanes. And no one team that will be there will be the Baldwinsville Bees. That wasn't expected when the Bees merely went 500 against league opponents. But in the Section 3 tournament on February 9th, my brother's birthday, Beeville nearly led from start to finish and outlasted the likes of defending champion Liverpool. To take up, to talk about this a little bit from the Baldwinsville Bees, Gary Peterson and the star bowlers, Tanner and Dylan Williams and Tanner
Rosicko, yeah.
Will be on the program.
Tanner was not just the top bowler, he was the top individual at that tournament as well, averaged, It was a classic case of a team peaking at just the right moment.
He had a 450 series, 278 high game.
Yeah, it seemed like, all season long Liverpool dominated. We're all going to talk about them the way we did last season. But Baldwinsville had put up good numbers all season against tough competition. It just hadn't been rewarded until the very end, and then it was. They took that lead, and they never let it go, even though there were challenges from the likes of Liverpool, RFA Proctor, some others. No one got close to them ultimately. And now they're going to be in the state tournament next week at a very familiar house. They know Strike and Spare very well, even though it's not their home lanes. They bowl there plenty of times, and they'll have the home advantage, and who knows what that could mean. And
then we've got our Wegmans winning spotlight interview members of the Fayetteville Manly's girls lacrosse team. In the last couple of years, FM girls lacrosse team have racked up Section 3 and regional Class B titles. In 2019, got to the state championship game before a narrow defeat to Eastport South Manor. But then the Hornets went through another coaching change, Kelly Torme's departure. But her replacement is another member of FM's 2004 state championship team who had a fine college career at UConn and now is back at her alma mater. Leah Tuck joins us with a bunch of her players. Will be here in studio to talk about the Fayetteville Manly's girls lacrosse team.
I'll tell you, these girls are so eager to get the season started with a new coach and all this stuff. They really seem to have always a great bond already. And it seems like they really want to keep it in the family at FM, always when they do their coaching changes. If you've noticed through the years, when they've made coaching changes, it's always been 2 guys or girls or men or women that have been in the program as assistants or as alums, and they really keep it in the family. And it's proven pretty successful in most of their sports. And this shouldn't be no different. FM brings a lot of players back from last season, and they won their league last year. Remember, they were facing Class A teams all season last year, and they bring back enough. And Leo should be a fantastic coach for them. So, and they're all eager about getting started with practices in about 9 days on turf, not parking lots.
That's right.
So anyway.
Well, today, obviously, we talked to Phil, mentioned real quick the Section 3 basketball championship games at Onondaga Community College that include, obviously, Class AA boys final that pits Corcoran against Beeville. 2 sides aiming to break long championship droughts after splitting the regular season meetings. Plus, it's 2 superstars, the Cougars, Joar Reeves, and the Bees, J.J. Starling, squaring off after both netted, I think, 30 points here in the respective semifinals. Corcoran toppling Bishop Ludden and Baldwinsville, avenging an earlier defeat to a Rome Free Academy side that in the quarterfinals had knocked off seed and defending state champion West Genesee. Got Baldwinsville has never won a sectional champion title as well here in boys basketball. And Corcoran, for all of its Strong Hopes history, last claimed their sectional banner there in 2000.
Yeah, it would be first ever championship for Baldwinsville if they pull it off. And Corcoran, like I said, 20 years since their last championship. Going back to the tournament as we saw in these games, in both instances, you saw the Stars take over. Beeville against RFA in their semifinal, they got a great game from Bo Nicholson. A double-double, 21 points, 12 rebounds, and he led the offense early. But the game never really went into Beeville's control until Starling, midway through the third quarter, put down a hammer dunk. up with deep three-pointers, and ultimately got 30-plus points after he'd not had the best of first halves. Now they deal with Corcoran. The same thing when their game with Bishop Ludden in the semifinals. It was a game there. It was waiting to be taken, and then Reeves really took it with a lot of his moves. Nothing with nothing spectacular, but just the ability to score. He just can score from anywhere on the floor, and is
juggernaut.
Yeah, and is able to get points no matter what. And it's easy to say, well, it's between those two guys. But probably when you have two superstars, it's usually the other players that ends up being the decisive factor in a championship game.
The Class A boys basketball sectional final pits JD against CBA, the defending champion. Red Rams having won 14 in a row and oust ESM in the semifinals. And the brothers taking out Bishop Grimes to get its 12th in a row in a rematch with the side it lost to on the same SRC Arena floor earlier in December. Still on its perch atop the state Class B rankings here in boys basketball, Lowville looks to defend its sectional title against a challenge from Solve, the Solve Bearcats, who are looking to break a 25-year title drought. The Bearcats, by the way, their chances were boosted a bit here when Justin Scott returned from a foot injury and led his team semifinal win over General Brown as the Red Raiders overwhelmed the Mustangs. Aiden, I think McCulkey had like 1,000-point mark there his junior season, so great job there.
The thing about these two games that are so fascinating, I mean, with JD and CBA, don't put too much stock into what happened 3 months ago. CBA, remember, started 1-4 back then. Now they are a much different team.
Right, yeah.
They are so strong defensively, and they know they're going to have to be as good as they've ever been to keep that JD team contained, even though JD has shown in the playoffs and recently that they can win tough, low-scoring games. They can change if they need to. It can't just be the Shumperts and the Autry going off all the time. As for the B game, it'll take something special to beat Lowville. Having watched this team a couple of times, they can be so explosive. You can think you have, like Marcellus got off to a good start against them in the semifinals, and then they'll go on some like a 24 run and they're done. And because it's either the McCauley brothers or it's Chad Bach or it's Zaire, any one of them can hurt you and put up big numbers. Salve needs everybody there, and it was just in time. Got Justin Scott back to help Bagosi, Wright, and all those guys. They're going to need all of them to be really special to beat this Lowville team, who really thinks they can win a state title and have the goods to do it.
Let's continue with boys basketball, trying to defend both its sectional and state titles in boys Class C basketball. Cooperstown worked past West Canada in the semifinals to set up today's title game against top seed Weedsport, who, by the way, after 4 straight semifinal defeats, finally made it past this round when it took out Onondaga. There was also some drama in Class D as Lyman Old Forge had to wait out a snowstorm in a play at semifinal until Monday night when a three-pointer at the buzzer got Lyme to overtime and eventually defeated Old Forge, bringing the defending champions to a sectional final showdown with a 23-0 state number 2 ranked DeRuyter, who had far less stress ending number 13 seed Brookfield's surprising run in the other semifinal there.
In the D game, what you have, which will tip off at noon, will be the first game of the sectional final. You've got a great Lyme team led by, I think it's Wilson, the guy with 2,000 career points.
Yep.
But they're going to need something incredible because DeRuyter, there's a reason why they're undefeated 23-0. This team has like 4 or 5 players who score in double figures. They just can... You don't know where it's going to come from, and everybody contributes. And when everybody contributes, you don't know who to defend. And that's what makes DeRuyter so tough. As to the C game, it's Weedsport's time, you think, with the way they've played all season, the way impressive as they've been in the postseason, easy wins in the playoffs. They like DeRuyter, a team that depends on a bunch of different players. But in Cooperstown's case, again, they might have the best player on the floor with John Kennedy, someone who, like Jack Lambert did a year ago, who carried them to a state championship. Kennedy must be accounted for, and must be at least contained and kept from having a huge game if Weedsport is to break their long championship drought that dates back more than 40 years.
You know, and there's a lot of drama, I should say much of the drama in the Section 3 girls basketball semifinals is quoted by Phil Blackwell, centered around Class B, where number 13 seed Bishop Grimes' shocking run continued with an upset of top seed Oneida. The Cobras.
We had on last week's show, remember? We had them here. And,
obviously showed great poise down the stretch and knocked off 3 of the top 5 seeds overall, and now are continuing with a sectional final game against number 2 seed South Jeff.
Well, and it's so fascinating. We had these players on the show. We had the Grimes team on the show last week, and we wondered, could this keep going? It kept going. It's because they play defense. It's because everybody contributes, and they get key performances from players like Alwell, who had like 18 points, and clutch play from the likes of Laura Mario, who had 5 points in the final minute to help them. against the South Jefferson team, and they're going to need it because Marcellus, it was an amazing semifinal. South Jefferson led by 15. Marcellus made it all up and tied the game with a minute left, but Jackie Pittock saved South Jeff, a 3-point play, and then she makes 6 straight free throws to fend off Marcellus in quite a semifinal game. Does Grimes have one more great win in them? I mean, it's hard to explain, but given what they've done so far, you can't put it past them. I mean, I don't think a 13 seed has ever won a sectional basketball championship before. Wow. So if they do it the way they've done it, it's pretty impressive.
As expected, the girls' basketball sectional Class AA final with Pitt top seed in 20 and 1 in Baldwinsville against the only team here in girls' basketball that beat them since the season. CNS, who handled West Genesee in the semifinals as the Bees got past Rome Free Academy. But before that, Class A final has the intrigue as JD, winner of the last 8 sectional titles, is probably an underdog against top seed CBA. The brothers have obviously breezed to playoff wins against Indian River and Whitesboro. The Red Rams had to go to the last seconds here to survive Bishop Ludden in the quarterfinal and trailed New Hartford in the semifinals before pulling that out. So, interesting games.
It seems like in the Class A game, CBA's got to put this JD team away early because the Red Rams are going to believe they can win a close game late, and they've got so many players with so much big game experience. So CBA's got to put together the kind of performance they did last week when they hit like 9 3-pointers, and every one of their starting 5 was superb against Whitesboro. That's what it's going to take to finally end JD's run. The AA game is so fascinating because, again, they split their 2 games during the season. Neither dominated the other. It comes down to Beeville's group of athletes. Any one of them can take over a game, whether it's the sophomores Bednarczyk or Hutala, the way Pascal runs the show for them, the way Mimas can produce, the way Wilbur can come off the bench, or will it be the star, Jessica Cook, who at times can just take over a game. I mean, she had like 16 third-quarter points against West Genesee, but even when she sat, CNS's defense was able to shut the Wildcats down. It's such a fascinating game. 2 very hungry teams for different reasons. Beeville's last sectional title was 25 years ago.
Wow.
And CNS, well, they've lost the finals each of the last 2 years. They're used to being on top. It's so fascinating, that game.
Well, as Phil and I continually talking here, girls basketball, just as the Class A basketball title games both have JD and CBA. The Class C sectional finals here in girls basketball both have Weedsport trying to unseat Cooperstown on the girls' side. And the Warriors put up a 21-game win streak on the line after handling West Canada's 1 semifinals. The Hawkeyes against showed its playoff poise, taking out number 2 seed Onondaga. And then there's, of course, Class D, where you have undefeated Brookfield, led by 7th grader Lily Vler Elliott.
7th grader, folks.
It's great. Well, it's almost like Joe Girard, who was playing varsity at Glens Falls in 8th grade.
Yeah, but this is even less.
Yeah, 7th grade.
This is even younger.
Playing varsity at 7th grade, pretty crazy.
We were nuts in 7th grade. What were you in 7th grade? I was at my worst. That just no. I don't even want to think about what I was in 7th grade. I don't want to think about that. That's the worst time of adolescence. I'm just saying.
Well, they stopped Lyme from moving to 22-0 and advancing in Saturday's title game. Obviously, today's title game, and obviously going to try to topple defending champion Copenhagen, a major task since the Gold Knights here absolutely pummeled a very good Hamilton team in the semifinals to get this far.
Yeah, I mean, watching Brookfield, I mean, they really had to fight to win that semifinal game. And the way Copenhagen just laid out Hamilton, it just looks like the Gold Knights are remembering the type of form that won the sectional title a year ago. So it's a tall task for this Brookfield team that's amazing. You're going to see their whole community there at OCC today, I think. And as for the C game, which tips off at the top of the hour, folks, 11 a.m., get up to OCC if you can. Cooperstown, again, the season defending champion, that's played just so well throughout the playoffs, and Weedsport's the hot, hungry team. But Weedsport's won 20 since they lost their opening game. They've won 21 in a row, and they've really handled everything in their path. Especially Susie Nemec, who has a case to maybe being the best player in Central New York this season, with her 40-plus point games, 50-point game she had in January. She's the type of player that she can carry a team if necessary. But Weedsport hasn't needed that to win every game this season, and that's the tough part for Cooperstown. If you contain Nemec, do the others hurt you? That makes for, again, fascinating game.
Interesting stuff. All right, we get back. SummitCars.com. Spotlight interview members of the Baldwinsville Boys Bowling Team. This is the Aflac Inside High School Sports Show presented by SummitCars.com.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back on. I'm Mike Bristol, the great Phil Blackwell, always hooking us up with terrific guests and producing all this delightful information. As I mentioned here a little bit earlier in the broadcast, Phil and I in the beginning monologue talking about our SummitCars.com spotlight interview members of the Baldwinsville Boys bowling team. Coach Gary Peterson is here. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you in here in studio. And Tanner, what is it again, Tanner?
Tanner, Resisco.
Resisco. You get teased at all? Any good nicknames for you? You got to have some good nicknames. You got nothing? When you're bowling, you don't like any good bowling nicknames?
Nah, he just calls me like T and that. Nothing like
T's good. That's
nothing special.
Dylan Williams, what's up, Dylan?
What's up, Michael?
Dylan, get real close. I like how you call me Michael. Good job, Dylan. Wow,
I haven't done that.
that would have been a promo, Michael. How'd you know my name was Michael?
I got an email earlier.
Oh, nice shot. A lot of studying, a lot of research there, Dylan. Coach, let's go right to it. Let's talk a little bit about next week Interstate Bowling Championships taking place right here in town, Strike and Spare Lanes. Talk about that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. The boys have worked hard all year to get ready for this, and they had a real good finish of the season. We started out a little slow and finished 500 in league, but they worked really hard at the end of the season, and they're peaking at the right time. So it's very exciting. We're looking forward to it.
So even while going this year 6-6 in the regular season, let's talk about what made you believe that things would really pick up once you got to the sectional tournament.
Well, we had bowled against Liverpool, who was, I think, probably one of the best teams in the section. They won last year.
Yeah.
And we bowled them really close in matches. Twice during the year, we lost both the matches, but we were really close. So I was like, well, we're not that far off. So that was encouraging. And then going into sectionals, we really didn't have any expectations. So I think that made us, bowl a little loose and really perform.
Take care of business. Absolutely, no question about them. Our SummitCars.com spotlight interview members of Baldwinsville Boys bowling team. Tanner, let's go to you here for a second. You in particular did well, leading all individuals, 1450 series, 278 high game. Talk about what worked well for you.
I came in there, first few shots of practice. It was looking a little rough. Looks like the balls were hooking a lot. So I talked to coach, and I just went to one of the balls I had in my bag, see what it did, and got the job done that day.
So talk about it. When you talk about you switch balls, you decide to go with a new ball. Talk about, I guess, what the lanes were like. Or I'm not saying new ball, it's a different ball. But the lanes, talk a little bit about that, how they set them up.
The lanes were a little different than when we practice on. It was a little lighter oil pattern there.
And you knew that right away after a few.
It started to hook off the brake point a lot, real quick off the spot.
Yep.
But I just made the right move and then just kept sticking with it.
Coach, talk about it. Were you watching him saying, okay, something's got to change here?
Yeah, it was kind of like what we practice on our house pattern at home, hooks a lot, and we're used to bowling on that. And we have quite a few two-handers on the team that start, so it works really well for us. When the lanes are hooking, we're really strong. We're really good. So once that lined up in practice and I saw that, I was like, ooh, this might be something.
Nice.
Something we can do here.
Yep.
So.
Dylan Williams, 1296 series, 246. Talk about what made your game so good, too.
I'd say throughout the day I was pretty consistent, right up until the end where I somehow pulled out a 246 game, right?
Yeah, right.
I think that's what really helped the team this time was a lot of us were consistently bowling pretty well all around and just led to us winning at that point.
Big championship. Coach, the Pin-O-Rama in Utica. Talk about Pin-O-Rama and the atmosphere there.
It was pretty exciting, and we haven't bowled there very often. I mean, I think a couple of times. So, but it's very similar to our home alleys where we practice, and they felt really comfortable. And after we had the first big game, we took off and we stayed that way. It was, I'm not going to say surprising, but we were very consistent. We never let up.
Yeah.
The boys just kept right after it, and we had one game that was a little bit weak. I think it was like the fourth game, maybe.
Yeah,
but everybody in the whole tournament was slow in that game, so we didn't really lose any ground. And then we just finished strong. We just kept right at it, and we got done. We were like, wow, we just won.
This worked out well.
Yeah.
Tanner, once you guys took the lead in the second game, talk about, I guess, keeping level bowling and remaining on top.
Well, when I found that out and I looked around at the scores, I got us in a little huddle and told them just to stay consistent and not get all worked up over anything and just do what you were doing. Stay consistent on your spares and just
keep it rolling.
If you leave a split, get as many pins as you can get and then just move on with it.
Do you guys have any pre-bowling meal or pre-bowling rally or anything you guys do before you come on?
On the bus, Coach got us little donuts and bagels from Dunkin' Donuts.
Nice.
So we
got fired up.
We ate them and then we just hung out, listened to music, and then when we got there, we got ready to rock and roll.
So we have a literal breakfast of champions being well. what John Belushi thought it was. And the whole Saturday Night Live routine, he said, "Don't this guy, I'm going." And you go back to that old routine. I mean, who knew?
Yeah, right.
It was real. Just kidding. Maybe not.
Dylan, do you have any like pre-game routine, any superstitions, anything like that?
Not really any superstitions. I'd say I like to like joke around with the rest of the team. I think we do our best when we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that. No question about it. Coach, I guess what are the advantages, disadvantages? Here now you have a full month, right, to prepare for the state tournament.
Yep.
So that's a lot of time.
Long time.
Yeah, we've been putting a lot of work in, but we just work on our spares, and we can actually bowl on the pattern that they put out for sectionals. So we put that out at our home house, and they're on that pattern a lot. So we're ready. We're throwing some good games in practice, so we're ready to go.
Nice. Phil Black.
But wouldn't you think that the oil pattern for the states would be a little different at strike and spare? Probably a little tougher. Is that a fair thing? Do you think that would be the case?
Yeah, that's true. They play different at different alleys, so it's the same body of pattern, the same oil pattern there, but it will play different. The lane's surface is different, approaches are different, so it'll be different, but it'll be close to what we're bowling on. So we're ready.
Never mind that they're going to have 3 full days of that stuff, too. There's going to be literally hundreds of bowlers going at it. One of the things I want to ask about you and Dylan is that how advantageous is it that the state tournament is a very familiar place to you guys, strike and spare? You've been there so many times. I mean, how well have you bowled there? I mean, have you rolled 300? What have you rolled there?
I bowled. I think my highest game there was probably like a 260, 270. I mean, I think for the states, it's kind of an advantage for us because we bowled there throughout the bowling season, and that we know what it's like there, and we know how to prepare for that. And like, if it gets a little like sketchy there, we can obviously make some moves and do what we got to do in order to get to the pocket and leave makeable spares.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing I asked Dylan. I mean, how advantageous for you? Obviously, again, same thing because of the being close to home anyway.
So like throughout the year, we have a lot of our bowlers bowl on different leagues throughout like the week, and so a lot of us have bowled at strike and spares thousands of times, and it's at this point we're like, we all know it, we all feel comfortable there. It's nothing really different about it.
I want to mention some of the others on the team because we mentioned you two guys are here, but who are the other guys that were part of the championship team and even the supporting cast? Because I know there's some alternates. Just mention some of those guys.
We got Dylan Love, Dawson Bigtree, Hunter Garrett, Luke Marquetta, and Eric Hildreth. Yeah.
We also got Zach Evans. He's one of our seniors who's going to be graduating this year.
So what would it mean? I mean, obviously you're part of a very successful winner of teams at Baldwinsville. We got both basketball teams playing for championships today, and then there's a swimmer, Nick Schultz, who's going for a state title in swimming and other things. I mean, have you been able to get, amid all that, some good attention at school and lots of support from your classmates and things like that?
I hate to say this, but no. I mean,
well, that might change now, or it better change.
I mean, like we got recognition from the athletic director. That's pretty much it. I mean, maybe a few teachers, but that was pretty much it. I mean, I think like 2 of my friends congratulated me, and that was it for us. And because I don't think anyone really likes bowling at our school, but I like it. Dylan likes it. The rest of the team likes it. So,
point is, the championship is still there, and you're still going to be in there. And that's part of history, and then, that's what matters, I mean, in the end. But at the same time, you're going to have probably a fairly large contingent of your parents and stuff at Strike and Spare. I mean, are you either gathering a group, or are you going to get everyone fired up for the next week?
Oh, yeah. So even at Panorama, we had a whole, stadium behind us right there, just supporting us the whole way. We had people yelling and, really hyping us up to get going, and yeah, it's going to be crazy.
All right, good job. Philly Blackwell, ladies and gentlemen. Coach, when you look at the overall play of these guys and where the team's at, you got to be happy.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. I mean, they're like I said, they're just peaking at the right time. Right now, they're bowling their best the whole
perfect,
year.
And perfect timing as well. Talk about Baldwinsville boys bowling team, guys. Let's do some shout outs. And first, one more quick question. Actually, Tanner, you first. Do you have any heroes in the bowling world that you look up to? You try to mimic your game after, anything like that?
I'd probably say Wes Malott because we kind of got the same approach in that, and we I say that too.
Sorry.
But I also
he's a big guy.
not a pro actually. I also look up to my dad because he actually teach me throughout the years how to bowl in that, and he'd take me to some lessons helped me get things to work on. But he's also been like a big impact on my bowling career because he's always there for me and he's always supporting me at like tournaments, even league, or even just like open bowling. He'll be there to help me practice in that, and that's always been helpful to me.
Gotcha. And Dylan, how about you? Any superheroes somebody look up to?
I'd have to say Norm Duke.
Oh, Norm.
Yeah. But understand, Norm Duke is a little guy by comparison. He's like 5'7", 140, whatever. I mean, he's not exactly your body type.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to meet him before, and I've seen him bowl.
Okay, that
yeah,
makes sense then.
And it was really cool because for me, I like to bowl with consistency, and Norm Duke is like, for me, is like the epitome of like consistency, but also good consistency.
Well, let's face Norm. If people don't know, Norm Duke's the guy who won a tournament when he was 18 years old, a PBA Tour event, and then he won tour events in his 50s. I think he's won almost like 4 different decades. So, almost 5, almost. I mean, we're getting almost 5 decades. One of the all-time greats. So there you go.
Very nice. All right, boys, let's do some shout-outs. Coach, let's give a shout-out. Who do they give a shout-out to?
Our athletic director, who always supports us, gives us everything we need. So he's great. He's one of the best, Chris Campolita at Baldwinsville.
Of course. Great
and my wife for putting up with all my hours of coaching and doing what I do. So shout out to her.
Good woman. Tanner, how about you?
I don't know. Probably just shout out to all the bowlers who supported me throughout my career and all the girls that came out to support us at sectionals and who are they're gonna come out and support it. They're gonna
the
come
girls'
out.
team, let's just say, okay, and they're a good bowling team they had this season too. So anyway,
And the few girls that are gonna come out and support us at states, I hopefully think will and just be there for us no matter how good or bad we do. Hopefully we do good, which I hope we will.
Very nice.
We will.
Absolutely. Dylan, how about you?
I'd like to shout out the Booster Club. They really helped us get ready for states or sectionals this year, and they helped us pay for a lot of different expenses that we didn't know if we couldn't make.
All right. Great job. Baldwinsville boys bowling team are here. SummitCars.com Spotlight Interview. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Good job, fellas. We'll be right back. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back on the program. Mike Bristol, the great Phil Blackwell, and it's good to have the kids in studio here. We're talking with the Wegmans Winning Spotlight Interview, members of the Fayetteville Manlius Girls Lacrosse team. Girls, welcome in studio. Say hello. Go ahead.
Hi.
Nice work. Leah Tuck, the new coach. What's going on, Miss Tuck?
We're just getting ready for the season. Starts March 16th.
All right, well, let's talk about it for a second here. So the fact of where you girls are at right now, taking over as a new coach. First of all, talk about that role.
Sure. So I'm taking over as a new head coach, but I've been coaching as an assistant at the varsity level for 2 years, and I coached the freshman team before that, but I also grew up in the FM program.
Did you? And you played through all the years? And
Yep.
Multi-sport or just lacrosse?
Yep. I played soccer, basketball, and lacrosse.
Nice.
And
Oh, the girls didn't even know that. They really studied you.
yes.
Coach, let's introduce everybody because Phil wrote this out, and I can make out first names, but that's just about it. Because when Phil writes, it's
Sure.
it's also cold outside.
interesting. Yeah.
So we've got some seniors in the studio
Yeah, let's go
today. Stephanie, Lexi, Natalie, Maddie, Tomlin, and Maddie.
So all seniors here in studio.
Yes.
All right. So Stephanie Dragus.
Drapus.
See, this is what I'm talking about. So Stephanie, talk a little bit about yourself here.
I am a senior. I'm a defender, and I also play field hockey, and I'm looking forward to lacrosse season.
Oh, very nice. Lexi, how about you?
Hi, yes, I'm also a senior defender, and I've been on the varsity team. This will be my 3rd year, and I also play basketball and tennis.
Very nice. Natalie?
I'm a senior. I'm a goalkeeper, and this will be my 2nd year on varsity.
Very good. Madeline?
I'm Maddie, and I'm a senior, and I'm a defensive mid, and I play tennis and lacrosse.
Very nice. Tomlin?
I'm Tomlin. I'm an attack. I've been on the team since sophomore year, and I play soccer too.
Look at you. Maddie?
Hi, I'm Maddie. This will be my 4th year on the team, and I also run indoor track.
Oh, very good. All right, well, let's go around the board a little bit. So, Stephanie, talk about this team right now, where your girls are at here, Fayetteville Manlius Girls Lacrosse team.
Well, we have been working very hard as a team together to improve and just become better as a team, and we're really excited for season.
All right, Lexi, at this point, having, coached where she's at, been through the program, coached or played under, I think you played under Kathy, right? Taylor?
I did.
Very, very cool. So talk about that.
So yeah, she was our defensive coach last year,
Yep.
and now she's stepped up and taken the head coach role, where obviously she'll now be both offense and defense and kind of all around.
All right. Natalie, what does this team have to do to win the season?
We just have to work together and stay together as a team, act like we're a family like we have been, and just put the work in every day, come ready to play, and make sure that we're doing our best all the time.
Madeline, what have you been doing off season here to get ready?
Well, I've been doing a speed and conditioning class, and
Nice.
I'm not doing a fall sport, so that's what's been keeping me busy.
All right. Tomlin, talk a little bit about yourself.
I don't know. I really love lacrosse. I love to play because I got all my friends here, and I'm excited for the season. Kind of weird. I'm a senior, but
I know, right? Maddie, what's it like being a senior here?
So it's kind of crazy because like we've watched each senior class graduate, and like it's so crazy that it's us now, and like I just hope that I can continue to like set the role models that like we've been watching the seniors do for us, and I hope that we can do the same for the underclassmen.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Coach, let's talk about a little bit about your playing days. What has changed? How different is the game? How similar, I guess, is the game?
Sure. So I grew up in the program, like I said. I graduated in 2004 and was lucky to play under Coach Kathy Taylor. We won a state championship that year. And the game has changed a lot. It's fast. Some of the rules have changed, but the kind of ingredients for winning and having a good experience probably hasn't changed that much. So we're just looking to have a lot of fun and enjoy the sport as much as we can, build some confidence in these student athletes, get better every day. And I think if we do that, we'll have a successful season.
Nice job. We've got our Wegmans Winning Spotlight interview, favorite Manly's girls lacrosse team. Phil Black, well, go ahead, pal.
This is a year where, among other things, Lee, you're not the only new coach. There's a lot of them in different places. CNS has a new coach. CBA's got a new coach. I mean, you've got to feel like someone of a generation your generation is taking over. I mean, we already saw what Collins, the success she's had at Baldwinsville, Liverpool, other places. I mean, it's got to be exciting for you.
It's very exciting. And I've told the girls this many times, but being the coach at FM is a lot more than just a coaching gig for me. My heart is in it, having a lot of pride for the school and belief in these girls. So, yeah, it's very exciting.
Are you a teacher as well?
No, I work at SUNY ESF.
Oh, look at that. All right. Coach, great job. Stephanie, let's bounce you back here for a second. Talk a little bit about the offense.
the offense?
Yep.
I'm
What
a
do you know?
defender.
That's all right.
All right. I think our offense has a lot of speed and quick movement, which is hard to defend sometimes. Sometimes when they blow by me, I'm like, all right. But I think they work together as a team to like score goals, and they just work really hard to.
Did they blow by you a lot, Stephanie?
No.
Lexi, talk a little bit about the offense as well for me.
Yeah, I think as Steph said, they are like really becoming a good like team like connection, and they've like work well together and see the field, like always know where each other are.
That's very good. Natalie, once practice, I guess, gets started, what are some of the expectations here for the team?
Definitely to come ready to work every day. We always are there 15 minutes early. That's on time for us. And by the time practice starts, we should be ready to go in the mindset of playing, no matter if it's a pregame practice for a game at the end of the week, or if it's a warm-up right before the game, everyone's ready to go at the time we're supposed to be there.
Nice. Madeline, it'll probably be nice that you won't have to worry about snow, hopefully, and practicing in the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the facilities. And
So we have a turf field, and the past 3 years for tryouts, we haven't been able to get on the turf because of the snow. But this year it looks like it's going to be nicer. So I think we're going to be out on the turf, which is a lot better than the gym.
Tagline, talk a little bit about, I guess, do you want to stay in Class A if you had the choice, or do you like the move? Talk a little bit about the different classes. Yeah, the leagues, I guess.
I think it's a good challenge to be in a new class. Like, we're used to playing in that class because we do the whole season, and I think it's fun. Like, some of us play club lacrosse, and we have a lot of girls that we're friends with on the other team, so I think it'll be fun to be able to play them in playoffs instead of teams we don't know. I mean, I don't think it's an easier or harder class. I think we'll do well in either class we're in.
Maddie, how are your thoughts, too, with that question? Do you like where you're at? Do you wish things were back to where they were? What are your thoughts?
I'm definitely happy that we're back up in Class A, just because I've gotten a lot of comments from, like, some of the boys lacrosse team or, like, other teachers are like, oh, like, you have it easy, you're in Class B, but, like, even when we were in Class B, that's not the case, but I'm just happy that we're going to be able to prove ourselves in Class A.
All right. Phil Blackwell, go ahead, Phil.
Well, that's good that they're in Class A because now you get to play the teams during the season and then the postseason, and then there's a real rivalry. It goes back to kind of what it was, which was so intense anyway. But also, besides the league games, who else have you scheduled in terms of your non-league this year, Leah, to keep the team, to test the team? Who have you scheduled non-league?
Well, we're playing a scrimmage. Our first scrimmage is March 28th. We're playing Kaz and Chittenango. We just scheduled a game against Bethlehem. We've got, West Hill. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we're playing some great teams.
No, I gotta ask this too. And one of the things the cool things about you, Leah, is that you're a mom of 11-month-old, I think, twins. Is it?
Yep.
Sons.
Yep.
And are you gonna be seeing like? Are we gonna be seeing like what it was when Kathy Taylor was coaching back in her day? She had her kids, and then they grew up on the program. Are you gonna see the point where you're gonna be seeing them all the time at practices and games?
Well, isn't that the dream? Yes, I think one of the reasons I'm so excited about this gig is that I think it's a great example for my sons to see me in a leadership role. Also to see these role models of young athletes. These girls are great lacrosse players, but even better humans. And I think it'll be good for my kids to see that.
Now, to all the players, and this is a question for any of them, do you fully expect that when practices rolling? First of all, who's assisting you this year as a coaching?
Sure. So my assistant coaches are Coach Shannon Burke. She grew up.
How do I know Shannon Burke?
West Tennessee?
West Tennessee.
Oh, that's right.
Standout player.
How did you get her? I mean, I can't recall a West Tennessee. Although Chris Keneally was the Ben's coach, he lived in Kimball. His daughters went to West Tennessee. Yeah, there's some crossbreed. Not much, though.
No, there's not much. So Shannon and I went to University of Connecticut together and played there. So we're good friends from college, and growing up on other sides of Syracuse, we weren't like a quick friend in college. Took a minute, and then became very close. So recruiting her to be an assistant was probably one of the better things I could have done for this team. And then the other assistant is Coach Julie Frechette, who also grew up in the FM program, played at University of Massachusetts, and she's got coaching in her blood. Her maiden name's Julie Papaleo. You may know Joe Papaleo from
Joe's
the CBA.
daughter, huh?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So,
Julie
yeah,
and I go way back, and we're very lucky to have her again.
Neat.
Big recruit for our team.
Now, when you get to practices, I mean, to the players I asked, you fully expect all these, these coaches to really get involved with you and, challenge you one-on-one, and it could get, serious. These are competitive young women here. I mean, they'll still want to show something. I mean, do you expect that?
I think since we've had a lot of winter sessions at the YMCA and stuff, we've been able to personally know our new coaches and know their style of play or drills they do. So I've enjoyed it for sure. I'm an attacker, so I've been more with Coach Burke than Coach Frechette, but I really like the drills we're doing and the new stuff they bring.
Very nice, girls. All right, let's do some shout-outs. Coach, let's start it with you. Who do you want to give a shout-out to? Shout-outs, let's go.
I'm going to give a shout-out to all the FM alumni who came through this program. We have an awesome program, and we are standing on the shoulders of giants. So
nice.
We are lucky for all the coaches and players who've come through.
Stephanie, how about you?
I'm going to give a shout out to my mom because I love her.
Stephanie, you are funny.
Thank you.
I'm going to give
ahead.
a shout out to my mom as well because I know she's listening.
Natalie.
Hi, Mom.
I'm going to give a shout out to both my parents. They're listening, and just for thanking them for all their support they've given me throughout the years.
Madeline.
I'm going to shout out my mom and dad and my two brothers.
All right, Tomlin.
My family too, but also FM Boys Lacrosse.
Good job. Maddie.
Going to end with my parents as well. They've definitely helped me become the lacrosse player I am today.
Very good. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Thanks for coming to the studio, girls. We'll be right back. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, Mike Bristow, the tenacious and dapper and effervescent Phil Blackwell. Phil, what's going on?
Effervescent. I never thought of myself as effervescent, but hey, whatever works.
I thought it rhymed and sounded good. What's going on, Philly? Let's talk a little bit of wrestling.
Why not? Maybe a state
all right, well, let's go. You're already beating me to the punch. I was going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, today at Albany Times Union Center, two Section 3 wrestlers here brought home state titles at 160 pounds, Division II. Dolgeville's Jacob Null finished a perfect 51-0 season. by beating Eden's Giovanni Schifano 7-3 in the finals. And at 195, South Jeff's Tyler Masao also was perfect with this winner. 40-0 campaign capped by a 36-second pin over Hudson Evangame, Bolivar Richburg's Hudson Evangame. So go ahead, Phil.
Well, I mean, the thing about Masao's state chart is his 4 matches that he won to win the state championship were done in a total of about 6 minutes. Think about that kind of dominance. Usually when you get to the state tournament, most of the matches, the vast majority of them are decisions. They go all 6 minutes and they're close bouts as well. To have nothing but pins and technical falls all the way to the state championship and to get the state championship with a 36-second pin, that's really special. And what a season for Masao. And also for Null of Dolgeville. I mean, to have a state championship, a place famous for its football program that won a couple of state titles, and now a state champion in wrestling. And there were also some runner-up finishes from several other wrestlers, including Dean Shambo from Mexico. It was interesting with Shambo. All year long, he had chased Merrick Bush, I think he's from Central Valley Academy. Lost to him like twice in the sectional final. Then he beat Merrick Bush in the state semifinals, only to lose the championship bout. But still, second place in the state, remarkable. And the best finish for a Division I wrestler was, I believe, Ruprack from Central Square, and he finished third, and he was the best Division I finisher. So that's how the state meet went. Congratulations to all of those.
That's right. And then you also obviously have 4 of his state meet bouts, less than 7. But Avery Leonard, Cooperstown, Micah Rose, Loudville, Dean Shambo, Mexico, Mike LaBelle, Canastota, all are in second place finishes on the Division II side as well.
They all went to state championships. Again, the Division II wrestlers from Section 3 did quite well to have 6 finalists and 2 champions.
Both of the Section 3 ice hockey championship games featured repeat champions. Unlike 2019, Syracuse did not need 4 overtime wins in Division I over West Jenny. The Cougars this time blanking the Wildcats 3-0. Kayla Benedict had 2 of those goals. Division II unbeaten Skaneateles used a trio of first-period goals here in ice hockey to take control against Whitesboro and eventually winning 5-1. But both of those teams go to the state tournament, regional finals, the Lakers against Starpoint, the Warriors against Rye. Meanwhile, Syracuse takes on Section 5's Victor today in Rochester, looking to return to Buffalo's Harbor Center next weekend to defend its state championship.
Yeah, I mean, in the sectional finals, what we saw was a Syracuse team that really dominated against West Genesee, and yet it was only a 1-0 game when late in the second period, the Syracuse goalie, I think it was Carr, made a ridiculous sliding save one-on-one on Schneid, and really that was the critical play of the game. If that goes to this third period 1-1, who knows? Instead, Syracuse got the insurance goal, then up the empty netter, but they dominated that game really start to finish, and now if they play like that against Victor, they've got a shot getting back to Buffalo. And that's for Skaneateles, typical Lakers. They just dominate whoever they want to, it seems. They got 3 goals in the first period, and all 3 of them were involved. I think it was Charlie Russell, And they're going to be tough for a Starpoint team that has never won a sectional title prior to this season. And now they're going to have to try to take down the Skaneateles machine. But the game's at Buffalo State. And Mitch Major says we're not taking that for granted. But remember, Whitesboro's got their own chance as well as they face Rye in a regional game downstate because of that at-large. 5 years ago, Skaneateles was an at-large team, and they won the state championship. So it can happen.
Very nice. Section 3's gymnasts brought home plenty of medals as well and lots of hardware. Last Saturday's state championship meet, Gold Spring Harbor High School in Long Island, New Hartford's Miranda Smith was the particular standout, winning the state all-around championship, 38.675. That included wins on the uneven bars with the 9.7 and the balance beams on the floor exercise with the 9.6. Whitesboro's Taylor Bushy was second on the uneven bars, while Bushy's teammates, Menetzkin and Skilladone, got third place on the beam, and Smith's teammate Kennedy Massoud was fifth on the floor. All of those were great scores and enough to give Section 3 of the team championship by a narrow 0.625 point margin over Section 6.
What happened there? I mean, remember, in gymnastics, they had the season in the fall, and they had the sectional tournament in October. So after that, they have to wait 3 months, but have kind of like the golfers do, the boys golfers do, having a fall season, but then a state tournament months later. In this instance, I mean, what a performance by New Hartford's the state champion. I mean, incredible work. I mean, to win 3 of the apparatus, that's really difficult. I mean, state competition shows how dominant she was. I mean, Simone Biles, like kind of in a way, but amazing performance.
Amazing. You're absolutely correct. This is the state championship weekend in the boys swimming as well. On Long Island, Baldwinsville, Nick Schultz is a medal contender in the 100 breaststroke, and Watertown's Nate Carlos is the same in the sprints as Liverpool has all 3 relay teams on hand. There's also the state indoor track and field championships on Staten Island featuring FM's distance runners and Liverpool's duo of Amina Sinclair. But no one could top what Tully's Brooke Robert did last weekend, and the junior superstar winning the gold medal for Team USA at the Pan Am Junior Women's Championships in a time of 23:12. That was 11 seconds ahead of Canada's Saturday Sigfest. Pulled away on the 6,000-meter course's final climb. It was absolutely incredible.
Incredible. 4-time state champion. Now she's an international competition gold medalist, and she's still only a junior, Brooke Robert. It's amazing what she could still do. The state meet's underway downstate and on Staten Island for indoor track. FM runners are seated very highly, especially Claire Walters and Robert too. And by the way, Robert's running in the state meet in the 1,500 meter run as well, just for good measure. Also Kwamir White from Henniker, top seed in the high jump. Watch for him as well in the boys high jump. As to the swimming, big stuff yesterday. You had Baldwinsville's Nick Schultz breaking the Section 3 record in the 100 breaststroke and qualifying second for the finals. I think he would beat Baldwinsville's first state champion if he could pull it off, but he's got work to do. But also, Griffin Merkling, remember he was qualified in like 11 different events. He qualified fifth for the finals of the 200 individual medley, which is taking place almost as we speak right now. And Nate Carlos of Watertown qualified second, I think, for the finals of either the 50 or the 100 freestyle. So Nate Carlos could bring home a medal, too, for Watertown. So there's a few different medalists that could come home from boys swimming from the state meet.
Phil, anything else? Let's talk a little bit real quick about your overall take on boys basketball, and then we'll go down the line.
Well, the championship games, I think, in AA, it comes down to the supporting cast. Everyone knows what Reeves and Starling can do. It's the other guys that will really matter. In the A game, we know how good CBA has been on defense. They're going to have to be maximally good to contain JD's group and keep them from winning that game. And then B, it'll take a special game from Solvay to take down the Lowville machine. That's for sure. And then C, Cooperstown is still the team until proven otherwise, but Weedsport's been so consistent. And D, it'll take, again, a very special game from Lyme to knock off a DeRider team with so many players that score in double figures.
All right, girls' side real quick, basketball.
In AA, what we have is a Baldwinsville CNS game that comes down to the deeper Bs against the superstar with Jessica Cook, who could take over. In an A, CBA, I think, needs to make an early blow to the top JD. If this game is close late, the Red Wrens will certainly believe they can pull it out. In the B game, can Bishop Grimes pull off one more miracle? Having already knocked off so many of the top seeds, it would take something like that, but never underestimate the Cobras, the way they've put things together. And C, as they're about to tip off right now, maybe it's finally Weedsport's time after Cooperstown, but it's always going to be tough to knock the Hawkeyes off their perch. And then D, Brookfield has to really play well to knock off a Copenhagen team that was so impressive against Hamilton last week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a great Inside High School sports show. It's always fun to have the great, tenacious, what did I call you? Effervescent.
Effervescent's not a term that comes to mind.
But it is. Beautiful Phil Blackwell. Phil, obviously, future Hall of Famer Phil Blackwell. All right, we'll see you next week here, and a special thanks to everybody out there listening. Great job with all the teams here in studio. Syracuse Legend Show coming up next. Real quick, 30-minute show talking to Alan Griffin, Adrian Autry. John Wall's coming on next weekend. And I'm a little bit under the weather, so we're going to do a quick 30 minutes, and we'll be out of here. ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1. 97.7, 100.1. 97.7, 100.1. 97.7, 100.1. 97.7, 100.1. 97.7.